Well, I still am in Winnipeg. I'm still here. A lot has happened since my last video. A lot has happened in the past month. I sold my house. I moved everything into a huge big moving van. And as it drove away from my house, I actually cried. Then I went into my empty house and I sat on the floor where my piano was, and I just kind of like, you know, a little bit of a loss and all that, but it's life. Then I thought I would be leaving the next day, but frankly, I was too tired. So I've kind of, you know, stayed here an extra couple of weeks or more. But a lot has happened in that couple of weeks. There's so much. It's amazing to me how much has happened, how much has changed. I'm going to do a little comparison on my last trip to the border, which was July 1st, and my reactions to that and being sort of turned away, not allowed to cross. And then I went to the border again, I think it was day before yesterday, and I tried to cross again, and I had a completely different experience this time. The last time my problem was on the Canadian side, more so than the American side, really. They were really nice. This time, the Canadian side, they were really nice, like no problem at all. The American side was unbelievable. I got kind of hauled into the big building and grilled by a very small Nazi type woman. But my reaction was, it was so different this time, because what I had done along the way, and this is actually what this video is about. It's about trusting in the God consciousness, trusting, just totally trusting, letting go, no attachment to outcomes. Because one of the things that I've always had a bit of a, well, let's say this, a lesson I needed to learn. I needed to learn to not overlay the situations with my will, which my will has been, I mean, not that I'm dumb or anything, but I realized, like yesterday, I used to be in this mode of, you know, like I would have to get the information, and because I'm like, my mind works in details and piecing things together, and like I make videos, I do photography, all kinds of stuff where there's a lot of attention to detail, and you know, what works with what and what doesn't work and what lines up and what doesn't line up, and a lot of like kind of, you know, looking at what's fitting, what doesn't make sense, what's not fitting, and it's a lot of like intellectual calculation, really. Not in a, well, I was going to say not in a bad way, but you know, probably at points, yeah. But I've been through some transitions lately where that has dissipated. I'd say pretty much totally, very recently. And I've come to a different place in my journey where now, as I was driving to the border last night, for example, night before last, for example, I mean, I was saying out loud in the car as I was driving, it's up to you. Whatever is my highest good, I'll go along with it. I have no attachment to any outcome whatsoever. It's what you know, what is best. I don't want to operate on my own will. I mean, not, like I want a balance, right? My will is fine, but it's never for my highest good. It's only for a limited good. I've come to realize that. What is really for the highest good is a much, much bigger picture. and it is the will of the God consciousness. Like what does the God consciousness? It's from a very high perspective God. My perspective can tend to be not like God's, right? And there's a, shall we say, there's a divide, or like could be like that, could be like that. But I came to realize that I don't want that anymore. What I want now, and what I feel is intuitively the right thing, is to just really trust the intuition and my consciousness of intuition and my own intuition, which is really a connection to God consciousness and to the creative consciousness of the collective, and to just get the noise out of my head, get the calculations and the analytical and the well, this means that and that could mean that, and what does this really mean? That's so tiring. It just makes you really tired. So I've kind of dispersed with that, and I've processed that. I gave that the boot. And now it's so incredibly harmonious and peaceful and just freeing to have the noise gone, have the anxiety or the worry about what's going to happen, which is a waste of time, seriously, because why would you do that, right? It ain't happened and it's not happening, so why would you create it? And the any sort of reminiscence about past, like, well, what if I had done that, or what if I had done this, or what's the point? Because that's all a whole lot of thinking, and thinking is not knowing. Thinking is thinking. Knowing is a different thing. Knowing is like quiet, and it's like a peace and a harmony and a balance, and it is like just it's like a letting go, a going with the flow. And of course, to go with the flow, it's recognizing that there is a flow, and what's going against that? What's causing that effort? What's causing you to push against the flow? Or is it just, you're in the flow, and it's a really, really, tranquility and peace. So I was driving along toward the border, and I'm pretty much talking to God as I'm driving, and I shut Elton John off. Decided to talk to God instead. And it was more like okay, God, I'm in your hands. Whatever. If you think I should go across the border tonight, I'll be going. If you think that it's not the right timing and there's a better thing, something more for my highest good, not just mine, but more for the highest good of me fitting into the whole picture of humanity. Like, what's the best thing? What's the best thing? Not just what I want, because what I want has usually, it works to a degree, but not ultimately, really. But it's the journey. It's the journey, it's the lesson, it's the path, and everybody has to do that, right? From what I believe anyway, what resonates with me is that is, it's the journey. Anyway, my journey has led me to, okay, well, I'm open. I don't have any agenda. Just what do you want? So as I'm coming up to the border, like along the Pembina, I was going down Pembina to Emerson, and my car loaded with stuff. All my other stuff on a huge big Atlas van, now in a warehouse waiting for me to go, including my piano, and my big video cameras, my lights. So we're depending on the sun tonight. Let's hope it holds out. But anyway, I'm just kind of driving along, and I saw Emerson, 93 kilometers, Emerson, 78, Emerson, 23, Emerson, 15. And it's kind of like, I don't know if you've ever saw there was a movie by Robert Mitchum was in, made a long time ago, the 80s, I think. And it was called The Winds of War, War in Remembrance. And it was all about the Second World War and the journey of the Jews and the whole thing. It was like it's an amazing series. You should watch it. It's really good. Anyway, there's this scene where the Jews are on this train, right? And they're going into Auschwitz. And, you know, it's night and they can see it coming up ahead, and there's the lights and there's the border and there's the whole gates and the whole thing. Well, as I was coming up to the border, you know, I was seeing that, a replication of that scenario. And I was going, okay, it's not Auschwitz. It's 2021 and it's Emerson. It's not Auschwitz. Anyway, I drove up to the gate, to the person at the gate, and she's really nice, young woman in her 20s probably. Someone in the booth with her, I think she's being trained. She was really sweet and really nice. Asked me, you know, where I was going, how long I was going to be there, and what was my purpose, etc. And I told her, I said, well, I bought a house, I got to go open it up, and when are you going to be back? And I said, well, looking to be back like around Christmas or before Christmas. So anyway, she says, you have to go inside and they'll sort it out. We'll see what you can do. And I said, okay. So I get inside and I had to wait there. And then this woman saw me after she was dealing with another person who was a victim. Victim. Anyway, I was so flatline. I just was like so completely peaceful. And I was just like, yeah, whatever. And anyway, after she finished, she literally grunted at me from behind the counter. She kind of went, ugh. And I went, okay, I guess that's come on over. She was really mean, about this high. Anyway, and so I went over, and she's, you know, she really grilled me. Like this woman grilled me for like 45 minutes. And you know what? Not a word about vaccines, not a word about masks, which I didn't have one on. I have not worn one yet. Not a word about, you know, not a word about nothing, nothing. It was all about, well, how do I know you're gonna go to Kentucky and never come back? She says, how can you prove that to me? And I said, I'm thinking, I don't know. Can you prove I'm not? But I didn't say anything. I didn't even think that at that point. I thought it later. I was just had nothing in my head, really. I was just kind of responding to the moment and the now moment, which, you know, I'm a big fan of now. Anyway, so anyway, she grilled me a whole lot, and she questioned the fact that I had Christmas ornaments on the truck. And she says, well, you have Christmas ornaments. And I said, yeah. And I said, I live at 103, and I gave her my address. And she said, well, you have a piano. And I went, yes. Just like that. And then she said, all these questions. It was like, well, who's, and I said, yeah, I said, well, I live in, you know, I live in Winnipeg, whatever. Anyway, long and short of it, she grilled me like mercilessly. Long and short of it, I was just like, I didn't get ruffled. I didn't give her any negativity. I was polite. I was respectful, you know. And on my last trip through the border, I was respectful. Well, that could be debatable. But I had good humor about it all, you know. I wasn't like, I didn't put out like a fighting attitude. I was actually very light in humor. Went over really well with one of them, not with the other one. But anyway, I wasn't even like that because it wasn't who I am right now. That was another thing. I don't do that anymore. I mean, I still have humor. I'm not giving up my humor. But I didn't, I wasn't like fighting or anything like that. And I just said, you know, and then she comes around and she says, well, you're non-essential. And so you're going to have to fly. And I went, thank you. Can I use the washroom? And she was kind of like, she didn't expect that. I think she expected that, you know, what I have at stake. You know, I have a house now in Kentucky. I'm paying insurance there. I'm paying now taxes there. I got a truckload of all my stuff sitting waiting in a truck to come. You know, a lot at stake, right? And I mean, I think she really expected that I was going to do something, but I didn't do anything. I just thought, well, that's what the universe and that's what God wants, I guess. I'm fine with it. Yeah, whatever. So I just went. So then there was an interesting thing happened. I went to the washroom. I came back, and I was just going to head out the doors and go to my car. And she comes around. She says, "Well, I have to show you the way out." Okay. And her face had changed. It was like when she was grilling me and when she was talking to me from the time I got in there until I came out of the washroom, she was like, her face looked like it was cement, and it was all contorted into this really ugly mask. And when I came out, it was like a layer of that had crumpled, and I could see the human being there. And I think it was because I didn't respond to the mask. I responded to the human being, and not in a way that there was nothing negative. I was neutral. I wasn't like positive. I wasn't negative, but I was just kind of neutral. It's like, whatever. Yeah, okay. And yeah, so that was like very interesting. And on the way back to Winnipeg, I mean, it was a thoroughly enjoyable ride back, an hour and a half. I was listening to music, and it was comforting, and I felt at peace. And it's like, well, I want to go to Kentucky. I have a house there. I have all these things. I want to play my piano. I really miss my piano a lot. But I'm fine. And then I was really like enjoying every now moment since then, totally enjoying every now moment. And when the time is right, I'll know. I'll get it. Maybe I'll fly. I might sell my car and fly down. I don't know. Don't know what I'm going to do, but I'll know when it's right. On the point of masks, another story, but I thought of this. On the point of masks, before I go to that one, I just want to say, I was going to talk about intuition. Intuition is that gut, that feeling that is like your connection. I shouldn't say you, I should say mine, but I think it's a thing, right? That feeling of your actual connection to your sovereignty and your truth. What is your truth? Your truth resonates. Your truth is something that feels clean. It doesn't feel bad, If it feels not right, it's not your truth. It's not intuition. And I've felt my intuition all my life. I've been very strong on intuition, but I started to, for a period of time, I invalidated it, and I went, oh, it's my intuition, but what if I'm wrong? And like I realized after the fact, like later, no, don't do that. That's your truth. That's your neon light. That's your sign. That's your signal. That's the road sign. What's it feel like? And intuition is like a clean, beautiful thing, and it makes you feel like, yep, that's it. Yep, go with it, whatever it is. So on intuition, it's a really, really good thing to develop. Intuition has been something that has been completely over centuries, over decades, centuries, and millennia. It has been actually trampled and beaten out of humanity because intuition is not going with the system. Intuition is not going with what the programming is, and the programming is not for you to be free. The programming is for you to be a slave to systems. That's what the programming is. Like, for example, I mean, looking at like all the systems that are at play right now, the medical system. My grandfather used to say, I remember saying when I was a kid, yeah, if you want to be sick, go to a doctor. A long time ago, my grandfather. He was not a fan of doctors. I remember one time when he was in his 70s, he rolled his Volkswagen in a field. He was probably drinking. He rolled his Volkswagen in a field, got out of it in his 70s. About 72 or 3 he was, I think. Got out of that Volkswagen, made his way out to the road, hitchhiked home a few miles, got a ride, people knew him. Oh yeah, Anderson Harris. That's Anderson. Anyway, he got back and wasn't feeling too good, walked around for a couple of weeks, wasn't feeling really that good. And his younger sister was at home in her summer place, it was near his property. And she said, Anderson, you got to go to the doctor. There's probably something wrong with you. He went, okay. So he went to the doctor in the village, big old Irish doctor, and big guy. Anyway, he goes in and the doctor examined him and he said, Anderson, he says, we got to be taking you down to Halifax to the hospital. He goes, you got a broken neck. So they took him down to the hospital. He had a broken neck. He walked around for 2 weeks with a broken neck. My grandfather didn't like doctors. His instincts were pretty good. Anyway, I remember he had a cast on from the top of his head down to his hip line. And we would go down and visit him every couple of days and just the face cut out of it. And every couple of days we'd go down to visit him. I wasn't all that old. I was a teenager at that point, I think. And every day you go down, there'd be a little bit more cut away from the cast with the horse clippers. And one day, about 2 weeks later, we go down. Cast was in a split in the little woodshed, halved. And he says, the hell with that. I'm not wearing that. If I die, no problem. But I'm not going to wear that bloody thing. Can't do a thing with it. Yeah. Anyway, he didn't like doctors. Well, the medical system, I mean, you look at it now and, I mean, I've spoken about this before, which is, of course, the immune system. And your body is like an amazing, miraculous thing. All of your systems in your body, they're just incredible. Your body heals itself. You can heal yourself. You can heal yourself. I've healed myself with my body. I've healed my body, literally. I had this thing, I guess a few years ago. I was in LA, and I was getting these really bad pains down in my my side. So I went to a doctor a long time ago down there. They examined me. They said, you got a cyst on your ovary. You got to get that off of there. And I said, well, okay. I said, well, I'm going back to Canada. I'll do it there. So as it happened, I, hitchhiked back to Canada from LA. Hitchhiked to Toronto with a friend. And, but I worked on it with my energy. And this was quite a long time ago. And I got back to Toronto and I went to my doctor there. And I said, well, I got to get this looking at it. I guess it's not been bothering me though. So we did tests and looked at it. There wasn't anything there. That was one thing I did. Another thing I did was I healed the inside of my face here once. I had a dentist. When I came to Manitoba, went to the Dental University of Manitoba, because I didn't have any money hardly, so I went there to I had to get a root canal. So I went in there, and the student dentist was asleep at the wheel, and she sawed through my face, and it created an opening into the tissue outside of from the bone into the tissue of my tissue. And she did that, and they looked at it and they said, well, you're going to have some surgery. We got to open that up and we got to fix that because you could get infection in there. And I said, okay, well, give me about a month. And they said, well, okay, but you got to do it. It's going to be bad if you don't. I went, okay, well, give me about a month. So I took that month and I did my work on it, just energy work. I flooded light to it, and I just, flooded it with love and light, and I just kept seeing this white, beautiful light in there, warming it and healing it. I went back a month later and they x-rayed it and there's nothing there. And they went, they brought the students around, they were all looking in it. And they said, what happened? These are the x-rays, what happened? And I said, I did some magic on it. And they were like, oh my God. I've done stuff like that, so I know the power of a body. I know what a body can do. I know what a body can do. Your body can do that too. It's just simply a matter of don't poison it. Don't poison it. Don't put shit in it that the body has to work. The body has to do stuff to work against the crap. I mean, there's enough crap that goes into the bodies from the environment. The GMOs, the chemtrails, all that stuff. We have to contend with enough. And now that, you don't need that. I guess I made my point on that. Somebody listening going, yeah, will you kindly shut up about that? Okay, I will shut up. But anyway, moving on then to the mask thing. Anyway, intuition, yeah. Start developing your intuition, because that's the new earth. That's the new tool, one of the new tools. And healing yourself and stuff like that. That's the new era we're moving into, Age of Aquarius. That's the new era. The old era, no, it's not that. And that's what we're moving out of. That's why we get these pains and aches and all this stuff going on. The body is actually changing to accommodate the energy and the light that's flooding in. Body has to change. That takes energy to do that, because there's a density there that has to be, broken up, and the shadows have to be dissipated. And those shadows are in between your cells, and they come about because of experience and thoughts and emotions and shit you've gone through, and it manifests in the body, which is why people get aches and pains and arthritis and all kinds of stuff like that. That's why. So with this light that's continually flooding in, like, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go to a search engine. I wouldn't suggest Google, but I would suggest DuckDuckGo or something. Go to a search engine and start searching this stuff. There are millions of people know about it. Anyway, intuition is the new way. Healing with the healing energies, the herbs. What the elders did, the Aboriginal people, they, before they got screwed with, they knew all this stuff, Anyway, I was going to talk just this thing about masks. I had this interesting experience. Buddy and I had to go see a lawyer about, 3 weeks ago maybe. A lawyer we've known for a long time. He had to do just some paperwork on something. Anyway, so the lawyer, older, in his 60s, he had his own law firm now, kind of thing. And he says, well, we'll come out. You can't come in because we don't wear masks. You can't come in, so we'll come out. So we got there on like a, Saturday morning or something. And we said we were there, and it was a beautiful day. We were like, smiling and laughing, kind of having a good time. He comes out with two, what do you call them, witnesses to witness these papers, and all masked up. And he handed us each a clipboard with a pen on it, and he says, okay, sign there. And so my buddy, he's kind of going, he goes to find the page and goes, no. The lawyer's going, no, sign where the thing is, sign. It's like really mean, right? This guy we've known for like a long time. Always was really nice. Like when we were there before, we gave him a lot of business actually. But when we were there before, like, really, it's all like nice and friendly, and I always felt a little uncomfortable with him, because I always felt there was something just a little bit, I can sense when something is not really real. Anyway, but I, at that point in time, didn't think anything of it. I just kind of thought, oh, well, whatever. But I wouldn't really, put it this way, I wouldn't spend a lot of social time with him. But, I'm friendly and whatever. Anyway, so then we signed, and he was like standing away from us and stuff like we were poison. And then we handed the clipboards back, and then I went to hand the pen back to him, and he went, no, you keep it. He didn't want to touch the pen that we had touched. Didn't want to touch it. I went, okay, thanks. So we get in the car to leave, and we were talking about it, and I was like elated by this experience. It was so enlightening to me. Enlightening. Like, I was like so, oh, it was like windows opened and this, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And what I was seeing was when the mask goes on, the mask comes off. The mask we had seen all these years, which was based on business and, you know, making money and clients and all of that, and that, you know, that hyped up kind of like, oh, hey, how you doing? Yeah, come on in. It's great to see you. Have a seat. You know, do you want coffee? That's what came off, because the other one was now on, and there wasn't room for both of them. And I realized that this whole thing, it's an amazing journey in consciousness, because wow, what I have learned about people, what I've learned about like who are who, and it's blew my mind. And it's like, now it's great because I don't have to guess anymore. Just like, okay, are they like this? Oh, probably a good indicator. But you know, having said all of that, I'm not about division at all. At all. I'm not about polarity. I'm not about division. I think it's wrong. I think it's so wrong to segregate. I think it's where we're going is not that. It is not polarization, segregation, whether it be groups of different beliefs or anything, or even like, well, I don't like you anymore because I just don't like you because of something you said, or you just whatever. So I'm just going to, like, you know, dismiss you from my life, and, you know, whatever. You are no longer, I don't like you anymore. Whatever. But I'm not in favor of that, because I see who the people are, you know, and what they think about me personally, none of my business. It doesn't mean I think differently about anybody. I see a world where we are connected to each other. Who cares if you think different thoughts? Who cares? It doesn't matter. What's important is, are you connected to nature? Are you connected to your own sovereignty? If your sovereignty is like, you know, I believe that all of that stuff is completely correct, and I stand in that, that is my truth. That is your right. I honor that, I respect that. I didn't say that before at all, but I sure do say it now. That's your right as a part of humanity. It's, who am I to say what somebody's journey is? Who am I to say what a person should think or feel? Who am I to say what they've come into this incarnation, this life to learn or to grow or to develop or to experience? Who am I to say whether that's right or wrong? Would I want that done to me? No. So even the woman at the border, you know, I didn't take offense to that at all, because she was enacting what she believed was the thing she should be doing. And maybe it was for whatever who knows, right? I didn't know. So was I going to go against that and call her down for it? No. I mean, it didn't jibe with my world, but so what? I still respected her. But yeah, like, you know, sometimes, a lot actually, I'll have people send me these videos, and they're like videos or things on like, oh, now look at this horror, now look at that horror, now look at this horror, and now they're doing this, now they're doing that. Well, you know what? I already know all that. Why would I revisit it? Why would I keep looking at just another fragment of the same thing. Why? No, get past it. The more we put our attention on that, we fuel it. What do you want? What kind of a world do you want? What do you want? What do you want your children to grow up in? You know? What do you want to walk daily in, and, you know, walk on a street, walk in a park with a friend, laugh at a good joke, have a coffee, hopefully on a deck in Kentucky at some point. But what's the world you want? We humans are so magical. Do you know how magical we are? The evil cannot create magic. They can't create. The way they have to manifest what they want, they have to manifest it by getting us to create it. They don't have the ability to do it. So they do that by manipulating and lying. Because if they can put something there, fear, if they can put, the media is like mainstream media, and a lot of the truther media, alternate media, they go down that road too, you know. You gotta really trust your resonance on that stuff. But those are the puppets, and those are the ones that they get to scare people and get people to buy into it all. Because if humanity buys into all that stuff, they create it by their agreement with it and their being the effect of it. Them going through that is what creates that reality. It would not get created if humans didn't do it. It wouldn't get created if humanity did not see it that way. The manipulation and the lies are what get people to see it that way, which is why nothing makes sense if you look closely. It doesn't make sense. So what do we want, right? What do you want? What do you want? I was thinking about this, earlier today. Picture this. Picture if there is no attention put, not a bit, on young Castro. You know who I mean by that? Justin Castro. If there is no attention put on any of the agendas, him or that, okay, got to be respectful, right? I can't be a hypocrite here. Well, maybe for a moment. That thing, that reptilian thing that, is giving her reports every day. Well, him. Look closely. Do the research on that. Ain't a woman. Anyway, I mean, if nobody paid any of that any attention, how long do you think it would last? If this, deadly pandemic that's happening, if people looked at it just as for what it actually is, it's a flu, it's a cold. That's what it is. And didn't put the fear on it and the buy into the narrative on it, just, did what you did every other year. Look at the stats, Canada. There's no difference in the stats from one year to the next on people who've died and stuff. There's no difference. Look at it. As a matter of fact, there's less in 2020 than there was in 2018, 2019. What does that tell you? But if people didn't put any attention on that and they go, I don't feel too good today, kind of got sick, I come down with something. They lay down, go to bed for a few days, eat soup, juice, take some vitamin C, zinc, vitamin D, take your vitamin D, and the stuff that you take to get better and rest, you get better. That's the way it is. Your immune system, God's got it covered. You got it covered. Take care of your body. Don't screw with your body. Stop going to McDonald's. Stop going to fast food shit, and exercise. Get out and breathe the fresh air. And I mean, like, breathe the fresh air. When your oxygen is cut down by 20% and you're breathing your own waste, what do you think that's going to do? Think about it. Does it make sense? So anyway, what's the kind of a world we want to have, right? I don't want a world where we're all segregated. Not at all. I want a world where, a world where I don't care if we agree on something or we don't agree on something. I want my friends. I want to have fun. I want to play music. I want to have a place where children can grow up and children can have the life. Like, when they come out of those dire things they've been involved with, which you're going to find out. I keep saying that, but it's really true. But that when the children are saved and they're being saved, I'll tell you that right now. If you again dig around, there's lots of information. It's all there. But we want a world where people can flourish and where people can prosper and people can create whatever they want to create. You want to do a beautiful garden and you want to have organic vegetables? Have them. You don't have to buy them at Walmart. Grow them. You can go into Walmart. We can all go into Walmart. But Dean, he's doing some drumming instruction with a drumming instructor in the city who's apparently a good guy. And the guy was telling him today, he says, yeah, I had Rusin come in. I had him come in. And he says, and I asked him, you want my business, like you want me to mandate that people, get asked for their, and that people wear, gotta say that because YouTube, does shit now. You want that. Well, is anybody gonna be more at risk in here than they are in Walmart? And Rusin said to him, no. And he says, well, why then? And he goes, Rusin says, it's the law. And he goes, it's the law. Okay, so it's a law. It's not medical. It's not, like, oh, it's a law now. You got to do that. And it has nothing to do with health. Nothing. He said it to him. No. There's no more chance that somebody's going to get sick in here than they're going to get sick at Walmart. No difference. As a matter of fact, there's more people at Walmart. What do you think about that? What happens if you ask questions? What happens if you don't buy it? Do you know what the dark side hates the most? They're deathly afraid of, is when you say, I don't consent. No. Not going to do it, don't consent. They hate that because they can't create without us. Remember that. They cannot create on their own. They can't do it. They don't have the magic. They don't have the power. That humans have that. So I'll ask one more time, and then I'm gonna, shut it down because it's getting dark. I don't have any lights. My lights are on a truck. What do you want? What's the world you want to have? What's the world you want to see? See that world. Don't feed the other world. Don't feed energy to that crap. Don't feed the energy to it. Dig around. There's all kinds of solutions. There's all kinds of freedoms. And the biggest freedom we have is our connection with God and our connection with good. Don't feed the evil. Do not feed the evil. Or if you choose that, if that's your sovereignty, and you choose it because you just feel in your gut it's the total right thing to do that, to do this, do it. It's your choice. But don't do it with fear. Don't do it with fear. Do it with joy. Do it with elation. Don't do fear. Fear is like heroin to evil. That's what they want. Whatever you choose to do, do it. Don't fight about it. do it. It's your choice, but do it with love. Whatever it is, do it with love. Beautiful. I don't know when I'm going to be gone, but I will be. And I'll say it again, you know. I welcome everybody that I love. And I love a lot. You know, come see me in Kentucky. I got a place when I get there. I don't think it's going to be very long, actually. I don't think it's going to be long, but I'm here right now, and now is quite beautiful. Thanks for listening to me, okay? And I do not have any of my editing stuff I normally have. I'm going to edit this on a very small computer. I got to find a way to mix this audio with the video. So if you're seeing this video up, it means I figured it out without my gear. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say. And I just want you to know, as I always do, I love our planet. I love this beautiful earth. Terra. I love Terra. I love the beautiful God energy that is we've already won this horrible war that we're in, although it's playing out. And it's a war for consciousness. It's a war for our freedom. As humanity, we're fighting the biggest war of our lives right now. We are. But we've won already. We just have to hold the light. Hold the light. Don't harm anybody. Operate in your sovereignty. Operate with your love. Let other people be the same. You don't have to control them. They don't have to control you. Just stand in your right, stand in your light, and know that, you know, as part of humanity, I love you. I seriously do. Thank you. Thank you for being with me tonight. I appreciate you more than you know. I really do.